When you think about vegetation, when you think about crops, when you think about anything that grows in the soil that produces either fruit or flowers or what have you, the fruit that comes from the tree or from the plant is the gift that the plant is giving. It is the gift, okay? Everybody grabs the gift. We make jellies, we make food, we make preserves. Everybody loves the gifts. Nobody grabs the root. But where there is no root, there can be no fruit. We're living in a society today that we want the fruit, we want the gifts, but we don't have the grounding. We want the opportunity, we want pick me, put me in this position, put me over here, but we don't spend enough time being grounded. You have to be grounded in order for your gift to flourish the way it needs to be flourishing. If not, your gift is going to take you places that your character cannot keep you. Do you hear what I'm saying? Your gift is going to take you into places that your character cannot keep you, that you have not been groomed for, that you have not been grounded for, that you have not been prepared for. There's a great blessing in being grounded. My sister and I talk about this all the time, and I'm sure you have your own testimonies. How many of you are grateful for the people that raised you? Didn't they get you ready? Didn't they get you ready for this world? When they were getting you ready, you didn't enjoy it, you didn't like it, you thought they were crazy, you thought they were ridiculous, mean, and you was ready to call Child Protective Services, because when our folk get you ready, we really get you ready. We jack you up. But when I got out here in the world and I saw what I was up against, I wanted to go back and tell my mother and father, thank you so much for getting me ready for this, for getting me tough enough and strong enough that you don't have to like me, you don't have to support me, you don't have to help me, you don't have to worry about hurting my feelings and me giving up. I see these Rudy Tooty stir-fried people today. The moment somebody doesn't look at you right, you're ready to quit. You're not ready to be used by the master. You got to be tougher than that. You got to be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. You've been worrying about gifts, but you need to be grounded. Grounded is where your stability comes from. In an unstable world, in a world that is forever changing, you're going to look for something to be stable, and people are going to look to you to be stable. You can't move into positions and not be responsible. People expect you to deliver, and there has to be something in you that's grounded. It makes no difference how you feel. When people spend a lot of time talking about how they feel about life and how they feel about their marriage and how they feel about their husband, how they feel about their job, how they feel about their church, it's a sign of not being mature. It has nothing to do with how you feel. I've been coming home every night for 33 years. Every night I was in town. I had never spent a night away from home when I was in town on some kind of mischief or crazy stuff like that. So you know, I am coming in that house every night for 33 years. I came in when I was happy. I came in when I wasn't happy. I came in when I was sick. I came in when I had great joy. You don't come home because you feel like coming home. You come home because this is your commitment. This is where you stand. This is where I belong. This is where I fit. I am grounded. I am committed, and I will be there. Tell every devil I will be there. You know why? That's my house. That's my woman. That's my stuff. And if you're going to have ownership, you got to have stewardship. You got to stop owning stuff that you're not going to take care of. Oh, it's going to get rough today. It's going to get rough today. It's going to get rough. I am tired of people owning stuff that they won't take care of. You just want it so you can impress other people. You're not grounded. You're not grounded. And the reason you do that is because your esteem has been so damaged that you need constant validation from people in order to like yourself. Your gift has brought you into a place of exposure, but because you're not grounded, you will use the gift in a manipulative way to try to get people to affirm you because you didn't get what you should have got when you should have gotten it. That's why I thank God for taking me the slow road. I thank God for taking me the slow road. I know you got on the speedway and you got on the highway and you got everything suddenly. You don't want everything suddenly. You want it gradually, where you can handle it, where you can master it, where your mind can be ready, where your emotions can be ready, where your family can be ready, where your situation can be ready. It's not just about, do you want a baby? Do we have a place to put the baby? Can we feed the baby? Are you prepared to manage having the baby? Stop asking God for stuff that you're not going to guard, that you're not going to protect, that you're not going to see about. Young preachers ask me all the time, what should I do to get my ministry started and get it off so bang, people not calling me and this and that and that. I said, study. They said, study. I said, yeah, study. First of all, when you keep preparing for something that's not happening, you are waving your faith right in the enemy's face. You're saying, I don't see anything moving, but I'm getting ready for it anyway. I'm preparing. I'm calling those things that are not as though they were. I'm getting myself in a position to receive everything that God has for me. And second of all, when the blessing hits you, it's going to hit you so fast. If you don't have a foundation, you're not going to be able to go back and get a foundation. God is giving you a moment of silence to prepare for what he's about to do in your life. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I'm talking to somebody. Stop murmuring and complaining, because God is digging you down before he raises you up. You dig the foundation down before you raise the skyscraper. You don't go up before you go down. He is digging you down so he can raise you up. Because God knows the importance of being grounded. He knows how important it is that you have a solid core, that you know who you are, that your foundation is formed, that your core values are set. What are your core values? What are your core values? What are you about? What do we get when we get you? What are your core values? That's what people want to know when they come to a company. What are your core values? Where's your mission statement? Your core values are a promise as to what I can expect from you. It will tell me what you won't do. Oh, it got quiet now. I want to go ahead. I want to go up in life. I want to be successful, but here are my core values, which means I will not become whorish to get there. I will not become manipulative to get there. I will not step on you to get there. Do you even have core values? Where are your boundaries? Core value, where are your boundaries? What do you care about? I'm not talking about morals. I'm talking about your core values that you personally ascribe to as your alma mater. It is the thing that will not move, that will not change, that has defined you, that has educated you, that has trained you. What is a big deal for you? Is it trust? Is it consistency? Is it loyalty? What are your core values? If you don't spend at least half as much time thinking about your values that you spend thinking about your advantages, I need the advantage. God said, I need you to have some values. I need an opportunity. God said, I need you to have a standard. You need to spend some time figuring out, these are my boundaries, these are my core values, this is my foundation. Here, I go no lower than here. I go no lower than here. I'm ride or die, but I go no lower. I really got your back, but you need to know I go no lower. Come on, somebody. Foundations are important. Shout it with me. Foundations are important. Any builder will tell you foundations are important. My mother used to dibble and dabble in real estate all the time. One of the first things she taught me, she said, baby, don't be looking at the roof and the windows and the drapes and the carpet. She said, the first thing you want to check is the foundation. Walk all around the house and look at the foundation. Make sure there are no cracks in the foundation, because it doesn't matter how nice the windows are and how expensive the carpet is. If there's a crack in the foundation, you're going to end up losing it all. I want to know this morning, on the first Sunday of a brand new year, is there a crack in your foundation? Because if there is, let's stop faking like we're whole when we're not. Let's fix what's broken so that when the blessing comes, we are prepared to receive it. Most of us don't want to fix what's broken. We won't even admit what's broken. We won't fix the broken places in our life, and consequently, we do right things for wrong reasons. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Get your Bible and run right quick to Ezra 3:10. Ezra 3:10. You don't have to stand up because I'm going to be moving all around. Ezra 3:10. You're coming out of captivity. You're coming out of bondage. You're dealing with the people that are trying to get back up on their feet again and rebuild from what they lost. And it says, and when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel with trumpets. Foundations brought them trumpets. Keep going. And the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with cymbals to praise the Lord after the ordinance of David, king of Israel. They switched. Let me read out of my notes. And when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel with trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with cymbals to praise the Lord after the ordinance of David, king of Israel. And they sang together by chorus in praising and giving thanks unto the Lord, because he is good, for his mercy endureth forever toward Israel. And all the people shouted with a great shout when they praised the Lord, because they shouted, because the foundations of the house was laid. They weren't shouting over stained glass windows, padded pews, who sat beside them, how you got your hair done, how cute you look. They were shouting because the foundation was laid. God sent me here to tell you that he's been working on you for years to lay the foundation for what he's about to release in this season of your life. Don't wait till you get the blessing. You need to shout because the foundation has been laid. Oh, I'm going to try it on you. I don't know whether they heard me over there or not. You need to shout because the foundation has been laid for your victory. Everything you went through was God laying a firm foundation. Every night you cried, every moment you almost collapsed in the floor, was God setting the stage for what he's about to do in your life. He laid a solid foundation. Touch your neighbor and say, he laid a solid foundation. In Ezra, we're looking at the rebuilding of Zerubbabel's temple. It is a sign that these people, in spite of everything they've been through, are going to rise out of the ashes of their disparity and face the rising sun and lift their hands toward heaven and bless the name of God in spite of the adversity. And they started shouting because the foundations of Zerubbabel's temple had been laid. You don't see people shouting about foundations anymore. In fact, foundations are funny now. That's out of style. That's old school. We don't do that anymore. You can't have a new school if you didn't have an old school, baby. Until you can appreciate where you came from, you're not ready for where you're going. We don't do foundations anymore in no area. It's kind of funny, but when I came up, everybody wore foundations. That's all I'm going to say about that. Today, for comfort, we forsake foundation. Oh yeah, I went there. I said, for comfort, we forsake foundation. Because sometimes to get the foundation right, you have to be willing to feel uncomfortable. Come on, sisters, you're supposed to back me up. In order to get where you got it right, where it looks right on the outside, you have to have some foundations on the inside. Come on, girl. Have you ever wore a dress that you could only wear when you wore the right foundations under it? If you didn't have on no foundation, that dress would turn against you and cuss you out. If you understand that about clothes, come on, sister, stay with me. Somebody say foundations. How firm a foundation, ye saints of the Lord, is laid for your faith in his excellent word. That's what we want to sing when we see you coming and you really got it right. We want to say, oh my God, how firm a foundation. Yeah. And then there's that other crew. You can afford the outfit, but you like the discipline to wear it in a way it's going to look good. And you think that just because you're paying a lot of money for it, you ought to look cute. And you got ripples and ridges and dimples and ducks. And there are valleys and crevices and side roads and horse trails and look like you got banana pudding under your clothes. Just like not having a foundation on shows in clothes, shows in a house, it'll show in your life. 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 Do you hear me? Write this down. Storms come to try your foundation. Storms come to try your foundation. The whole test is to see if you're grounded. Once you are grounded, my friend, you can graduate. But the test is going to keep coming and coming and coming to test you to see if you're grounded. And if you're not grounded, you can't graduate. The storm is testing your foundation, your resolve. How committed are you to it? Are you really a Christian? I know you go to church, you like the Potter's house, you know. I know that, that's nice. Are you really a Christian? If I followed you around, would I know you were a Christian? Do you really even understand the faith? Are you trying to understand the faith? When was the last time you, without any solicitation, read your own Bible? How firm a foundation. And you wonder why the word isn't working for you. You don't have on no foundation. I gave a tithe, I gave an offering, I tried it 3 weeks, it didn't work. Get on out of here. Get on out of here. You don't have a foundation. Your roots don't go deep. Your roots are not solid. They're not stable. You have no foundation. When you have a foundation, you can withstand opposition, persecution, trials, tribulation. You might be hurt. You might be frustrated. You might cry. You might complain, but you still come in the house every night. Still do what's got to be done every night. Still fight the good fight. When you have somebody who has a foundation, they are not quick to take flight. You know how we got this generation of runners? You take flight because you don't have foundation. When you have a foundation, you say, I don't like storms. I don't want storms. I don't need this lightning. But lightning, do what you gotta do. Storm, shake what you gotta shake. When it's all over, I'm still gonna stay. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Go to Matthew 7:24 through 27. I'm just gonna teach. I teach the first of the year. I'm just gonna teach. Matthew 7:24, 24 through 27. And it says, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man. It's not just hearing it, baby. It's not just hearing it, it's doing it. Whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a what? A rock. A solid foundation. Give me more. And the rain descended, and the floods came, rock or not, and the winds blew, rock or not, and it beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. I'm not saying that if you're grounded, the storm won't come. In fact, I guarantee you the storm will come, grounded or not. The lightning will come, the wind will blow, the thunder will rain, the rain will come down. But if your foundation is solid, let's go further. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house on the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the wind blew and beat upon that house, and it what? And what? Great was the fall of it. Great was the fall. Somebody say, great is the fall of it. Anything that's not grounded, great will be the fall of it. A marriage ungrounded, great will be the fall of it. A business deal that's not grounded, great will be the fall of it. I love you till my heart busts, but we need a contract up in there tomorrow. Come on. Yeah, because sooner or later, our relationship is going to crumble if we don't have a solid foundation. Let's get a good, clear understanding. I don't care if it's mama. Mama, sign right here, baby. Sign right here. Before I hand you this check, let's sign. We're going to do a 1-2. You hand, I hand. Well, let's get the rhythm. Let's get the rhythm. Because if you don't have the grounding of expectation, who does what when, it will all fall apart. I thought you didn't mean it that way. Where you said, you have all of that confusion because you're not grounded. A lot of things that you're praying for, asking God to do, he wouldn't have to do if you would just be grounded. The storm didn't bother the house that was grounded. It blew on it, but it didn't bother it. The storms affect most readily those who are the least grounded. And I'm wondering, if the storm is beating you to death, are you grounded? Let's go down to ground level zero. Let's get past all the pretty stuff. Let's get down to, are you grounded? Are you grounded? Are you grounded? For me, grounded means a lot of things. I got 4 weeks I'm going to be working with you on this. Grounded means a lot of things. It means balanced. And I'll be honest with you, I struggle for it. I struggle for it. My father was a workaholic, I'm a workaholic. Work comes natural to me. Rest, it has to be forced. I struggle to be balanced. So I have to have people in my life who say, that's enough. Stop it. Because if they don't help me, that thing in your head that tells you when to quit, mine don't work. That thing that tells you just hang up on them and go to bed, mine, whatever that is, mine is broken. That thing that'll let you hear a phone ringing and not answer it, whatever that is, I didn't get that. Because I will answer it even though I don't want to talk and you called at a bad time. I will try to answer you anyway because that's how I'm wired. Part of being grounded is being balanced. Whatever you are not good at being balanced about, you have to put extra effort there because it doesn't come natural to you. Rest doesn't come natural to me. The idea of it sounds good, but the reality of it is almost frightening to me. But I never saw it modeled. So it's hard to do it. Our family never took a vacation in all of my life. I never saw it happen. Our vacation was driving to grandma's house for Labor Day weekend. We had to turn around, come back Monday. We never took a vacation. And they'd be down there slaughtering hogs and stuff. That was no vacation. I mean, a vacation where you really like rest and chill. I never saw it. So it's hard for me to become what I didn't see. I have to be very intentional to balance my life in that area, because what is natural to other people is unnatural to me. What is natural to me is going to work, because that's what was modeled in front of me. And when I got a certain age, I went to work, because that's how I define manhood. When men get grown, they go to work. So when I got grown, I went to work. Been working ever since. So you understand it? But that does not mean that it's a good thing, because in order to be really, to carry the weight of the gift, you have to be balanced, you have to be grounded, you have to be anchored. And rest does have a purpose. I didn't realize it till I was about 50. I thought it was a nuisance. I use the bed like the toilet. I go there when I have to, and so I'm finished. I'm out. You know, my wife can get in the bed. I swear there got to be somebody in there. My wife can be in the bed until Christ comes back again, and she will be having a good time. And I want to go in there and look up under the sheets, because I swear somebody got to be. And when she suggests a good time for me, it's about getting in the bed, reading books and stuff. I think we can do better than this. Okay. I'm just in a funny way trying to make you understand that some things that are good for you are not natural to you. And the storm will beat you because you're not balanced. Or you'll have bouts with depression because you're not balanced. You can be winning and be depressed because you're not balanced. You can be helping people and be exhausted because you're not balanced. If all of your energy's going out and you're always giving to other people and nothing is coming back to you, I guarantee you're sitting there right now with your miserable self, smelling like Jean-Claude Van Damme, but you are still miserable nonetheless because you are out of balance. Am I helping anybody? Do you not know you need to laugh sometime? Yeah, you need to have fun sometime. I got into a huge, big fight over me wearing blue jeans. And they want me to walk around like this all the time, just everywhere you go. Whether you're in church, out the church, you mean you got to dress me? I'm almost 60. You got to dress me too? I can't. You can wear whatever you want, but I got to. People will push you into always being what they had in mind at the expense of destroying your right to have a life. And these are the very same people who won't even come to your funeral when you die because they had to work. You better get the courage to stand up to them people. You better get the courage to say, no, I can't help you move. I will not be over. No, I can't come over this weekend. No, I don't want to go to the store. It takes courage to be grounded in who you are. Half of knowing who you are is knowing who you are not. And if you don't know that, people will make you be who they had in mind. And God didn't call who they had in mind. God called me. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't mad or upset about it, but I'll just use it as an illustration to help you understand. Let me show you one more thing right quick. Woo! Glory to God. I feel something about to break in here. Go to Exodus 39 for a minute. And before you read it, I'm going to explain it. This is where God designs the priest's garments. The high priest that goes in on the Day of Atonement into the holies of holies. This is where God has given them the instructions how to design his robe. If you look on the screen, he's pretty dressed up. When God designs an outfit, look at what it looks like. So to all of these people that think in order to be truly Christian, you got to be plain and drab and sad, talk to my tailor. He got all kind of colors and all kind of ornaments. He got all kind of jewelry. I don't know how the old church explained that, because we couldn't wear any kind of jewelry. But when God designed an outfit, this guy got jewels all over his chest. He wearing a hat. He's carrying, come on somebody. He laid out all these different fabrics. God's designed his outfit. In all honesty, every piece of that garment means something different. Every piece of that garment means something different. Today I want to talk about what's at the bottom of the garment. If you see at the bottom of his robe, there are pomegranates and bells. At the bottom of his robe, pomegranates and bells. Pomegranates and bells. Pomegranate, a type of fruit, and bell, a type of sound. When the high priest went in on the Day of Atonement, on the Holies of Holies, to offer up sacrifice for sin, all of Israel had to wait outside. Part of the ceremony required that he change garments. As long as he was dressed in white linen is quiet. It's anointed, but it's quiet. It's designed, the reason we had linen tablecloths is that linen doesn't absorb stains easily. So the reason that the priests wore white linen was so when they were anointed, the oil would slide and not absorb. Are you following what I'm saying? So what God wants is for there to be a flow from the head down to the beard, down to the skirts of the garment without being diluted or polluted. He wants it to flow. When God anoints something, he does not want you to soak up the anointing. He wants you to pass it on. Let it flow. Tell somebody, say, let it flow. Let it flow. Let it flow. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Because you anointed my head with oil, I've got to run over. Every time you sit by somebody who's truly anointed, if they're really anointed, you will feel the effects of even being close to them because the oil slides if it's on linen. Linen is the garment of a servant. If the oil hits a servant, they will serve you with the oil. But if the oil hits the selfish will always soak it up. Let me get out of it. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Now I'm getting ready to get into something. I want you to understand this. I believe this whole notion that I won't even go through the whole garment. I'm really focusing on the hem. When the priest went into the Holies of Holies, he went in white linen. When he comes out, he changes his garments to come out and move amongst the people. In the process of changing a garment that's got bells on the bottom, they could hear it. They could hear a sound before they saw the priest. So all of Israel is waiting outside of the camp to hear the sound. This is what Jesus meant when he told the disciples to go to Jerusalem and wait. They went to Jerusalem and they waited. He was behind the veil where they couldn't see him, but they were waiting for a sound. Because if you were truly an Israelite, you understood that if the sound went forth, it meant that the blood had hit the mercy seat, that the sacrifice had been offered, and that you were free to walk with God. So they were waiting in the upper room for a noise. And suddenly, there came a sound from heaven. The sound from heaven said, number one, the priest is alive. Number two, the blood has hit the mercy seat. Number three, we have a covenant with God. Number four, we're ready to enter into a presence we couldn't have before. And they started shouting and blessing God. Somebody just praise him right now for a moment. But it was the sound. It was the sound that elicited the praise. Can I go deeper? It was the sound that elicited the praise. I believe with all my heart when Paul says, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I am nothing. I believe when he is making his case in Corinthians 13 about love, that he's thinking about the priest's garment. Because the priest's garment out down at the hem of the garment was aligned with bells and pomegranates. Okay? Bells and pomegranate. Bells are signs, gifts, signs, showy stuff. Bells. Pomegranates are fruit. Both of them come from the Spirit. The Spirit has bells and the Spirit has fruit. The Spirit has 9 spiritual gifts. They're bells. We can hear the sound from the bells, but it also has 9 different categories of fruit: temperance, long-suffering, meekness. You've got signs and fruit. When Paul said, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, that's bells, and have not charity, that's fruit. I have become as tinkling brass and sounding cymbals, because what tempers the sound of the bell is the presence of the fruit. God doesn't want you to have no more gifts than you have grace. He doesn't want you to have no more signs than you have fruit. He doesn't want you to have more prophecies than you have compassion. So in between every sound is fruit. Sound, fruit, sound, fruit, sound, fruit, sound, fruit. I learned as a father, you cannot chastise your children more than you praise them. Come on, somebody. If you get too lopsided and everything you're saying is what I'm not, and you never say anything about what I am, after a while you will sever the relationship, because to the child you become noise. You become noise. But if you got a little fruit in between, then I'm balanced. I wonder, in your marriage, are you more noise than fruit? Are you always mouthing off about what needs to be done and never encouraging? Have you become a tinkling brass and sounding cymbals? If you want to test your relationship, watch how he looks when you come in the room. Because nobody smiles at noise. You want to know how she feels? Watch how she feels when you come in the room. They see you as noise. But I've seen some mothers turn fathers into noise. Your daddy gonna get you when he gets home. You saw it, why don't you get it? Why must I always be the bad guy? Now the child hates to see me come in the driveway because he now defines fathers through correction. Oh, y'all aren't gonna talk to me. Now, I want you to read the scripture. I'm almost finished. I want you to read the scripture. And they made upon the hems of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet and twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, round about between pomegranates. Look at how much detail they go to make sure you understand it. A bell and a pomegranate. A bell and a pomegranate, round about the hem of the robe to minister in, as the Lord commanded Moses. God said, if you're going to minister, you got to have a bell and a pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate. You cannot minister just because you got bells, just because you got a nice voice, just because you got a degree, just because you went to school, just because you're a great speaker. No, you cannot have the oratorical ability but not have the heart of the ministry, because God is going to raise you according to your heart. When he sees his nature in you, that's what's going to promote the promotion in your life, is when God sees his nature. His DNA test is in your fruit. Gold doesn't have DNA, fruit does. His DNA testing is in your fruit. That's how you prove that you're his. When you have love, joy, meekness, temperance, patience, when you're long-suffering and kind. Now, do I need to call Maury Povich up in here? Are you his kid or not? Do we need to do a test? Because the church tests you by talent. If you're talented enough, we will promote you. But God doesn't care about the talent. He goes for the character. Come on, somebody. Oh, y'all aren't going to say anything to me. All the people that you can see God's divine nature in you, wave your hand at me. Wave your hand. God's divine nature comes into your life in such a way that all of a sudden you don't even respond in a way that you would predict. You get hit in the face with something that normally you would flip out on, but because his divine nature is taking over your life, you got a soft answer to turn away wrath. Where you used to would flip out, pop your neck, and let 10 good ones go right in a row. 10 good ones, not the little ones, the real big ones. Curse words you need a concordance for, and then you would dive on them and start fighting. And now you just turn the other cheek and walking away. That's how you know that you've been born again. That's how you know that Christ's nature's in your heart. That's how you know you've been washed in the blood of the Lamb. When you turn away from something you used to turn to, it's a sign that something has been regenerated. Regenerate. Regenerate means you got new genes where you had old ways. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Why does God want you to be grounded where you will have the fruit of the Spirit and not just the gifts of the Spirit? Number one, God promotes you based on your heart, not your head. So you can have your head right, but if your heart's not right, you're going to miss the opportunity. For man looks on the outward appearance, God looks at the heart. Out of the heart flows the issues of life. That's why the enemy has tried to attack your heart with bitterness, using the people you care about to break you. Because the enemy knows that if you can become bitter, you can't become better. So he attacks your heart. He doesn't mind you going to school. You can get all the stuff you want in your head. If you don't get it in your heart, God is not going to promote you. Your promotion is being held up, not because the people didn't see good in you, but because God did not see himself in you. Whenever God doesn't see himself in you, he starts looking for himself. The Bible said in the book of Genesis, as long as God could see himself, he never had to walk the garden. But when he could no longer see himself, because he had made himself in a little mini-me called Adam, he started walking through the cool of the garden saying, Adam, where art thou? Any good mother will go searching for her child. God says, I'm looking for myself in you. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I'm looking for myself. Adam, where are you? I created you to reflect me. Let us make man in our own likeness, in our own image, after our own kind. I made you to reflect me. Where are you? I made you to reflect my love in the earth, my peace in the earth, my long suffering in the earth. I made you at the core, at the foundation, to be my representative in the earth realm. I made a little mini me when I made you. And you're so much like me that I had to make you the boss of something. So I made you the boss of the earth, to subdue, to have dominion, to rule and to reign. Because you're so much like me, I had to give you something to reign over. And you will never lose control of what I gave you to reign over until I can't see myself. The moment I can't see myself, your kingdom will start to fall. Great was the fall of it. Great was the fall of it. Great was the fall of it. The falling comes because I can't see myself. It's not because you're not good at what you do. You can be good at what you do, but I won't bless you like I could bless you, because your foundation has got a crack in it. And if your foundation has got a crack, great was the fall of it. I wanted to keep you in the garden, but because you stopped reflecting me, I had to take you out of what I had given to you, because you no longer at your foundation look like me. So you've done all of these classes and you've done all of this school and you've argued with people and you fought with people to get the promotion and you've read everybody's book and everybody's tape on everything how to get ahead and you're wondering why it's not working. You spin around 7 times, you hollered Jesus, you jumped on 1 foot. You threw tithes down and danced on it, said the devil was a lie. And when you got through doing all of that stuff, you were still in trouble. I want to tell you where the trouble's coming from. The trouble is coming because you're not grounded. If you're not grounded, if you're not steadfast, if you don't have his character emanating out of your heart, if you don't have the kind of love where you can't help it, if you don't have the kind of love that'll make you call up somebody that you ought to be mad at and say, I just want to make sure you're okay, then you're not ready to get this kind of blessing. If you don't have the kind of long suffering that you can take a licking and keep on ticking and they never call your name and they never acknowledge you, but you're busy doing what you're doing for the Lord anyway, then you are really not his child. If you don't have the patience to say, though he slay me, yet shall I trust him and wait on the Lord, then maybe you're not his child anyway, because if you don't get this thing right on the ground, you won't grow to the place of being great. Stand up on your feet. In short, beloved, to him whom much is given, much is required. I'm going to say something to you. I don't know if you'll believe it or not, but I've had the unique opportunity of living my life a lot of ways. I know what it is not to have nothing to eat. I know what it is to wonder where the next meal is coming from or how I'm going to get through the day. And I know what it is to go in the grocery store and just buy up stuff and not even look at how much it costs. Both extremes have their own terrorists. You don't hear the terrorist attack that happens on success. You just don't hear people talk about that. But success is brutal if required. Brutal. You have to be tough. You have to have courage to stand up to the brutality of winning. You have no fraternity. You're kicked out of your community because we don't see winning as being legitimately Christian. Well, certainly not African American. They will burn your card in a minute. You have to have the courage to live with the pressure and the criticism. The level of criticism grows with the level of influence. New levels bring new devils. You have to be tough. You have to be tough to be able to stand it. Now, being down and out is tough too. It's tough too. It's got its, but it's a whole different kind of tough. It's a tough of keeping your kids encouraged while you secretly worried to death yourself. It's a tough of getting ready for a birthday and don't have a birthday gift. It's a tough of not being able to get the light bill paid and the water bill paid and trying to send the check ahead and balance it against when your check comes and hope it got there and oh, it didn't come and now you're in more trouble than you were before and you keep going through. It's tough in another kind of way. If you don't have a foundation that's solid, God can't take you up. Because as you ask for more influence, more opportunities, more money, whatever your more is, there are more devils with that more. You can't get more of this and not get more of that. You understand? If you pastor 12 people and 2 of them hate you, you know what I'm saying? That's not quite 20%. Now, pastor 12,000. Do the math on that. Now you got 2,000 or so haters. Okay? More means more. When God really has earmarked you for greatness, He spends a lot of time working on your ground. Spends a lot of time letting you do stupid stuff and find out it doesn't work. Breaking down your will and breaking down your spirit and bringing you to a place of humility where you will finally listen to him. He takes you through things that are painful to build up your toughness, because you cannot make anybody tough with kindness. What makes you tough is that you become accustomed to dealing with pressure and troubles and trials. And so when God has earmarked you for greatness, there's a whole different level of training he takes you through, a battery of tests he takes you through, so that you won't break. Do you understand what I'm saying? He'll let you be betrayed and betrayed and betrayed and betrayed until you stop needing friends. He'll bring you to a place where you'll give up on even needing that in your life. You'll find out, if I made it all these years without you, I guess I'll be all right, you know. What I'm telling you is that God's trying to ground you. He's trying to anchor you. Not trying to kill you. For where he's going to take you, for what he's going to do over the next 10 years, not just this year, but over the next 10 years of your life. You're going to have a good foundation, solid. You're going to have to get to the point that your old, ungodly, unsaved friends can't access you so easily. That they can't distract you so easily. You got to get in the place that God can give you a business and a boyfriend won't take it from you. I know, shocking, ain't it? Yeah. If he gave it to you right now, Sweetback would come. Delayed doesn't, I know that's all, pray for me. Delayed does not mean denied. It just means that God is working on some areas of your life so that you have a pomegranate and a bell, a pomegranate and a bell, a pomegranate and a bell, a pomegranate and a bell. I wrote this book years ago. I wish I could retract it and write it over now, because I could do a better job now than I could then. I thought I could do something then, but I can do much better now. The book is Can You Stand to Be Blessed? Can you stand? Can you stand up to it? Can you stand up to it? Can you stand up to the ridicule you would get from your old friends? Or would you go broke trying to prove to them you haven't changed? You got too many other gods in your life. You know what the God is that I have to struggle with all the time? I have to struggle with him all the time. The God of what I had in mind. The God of what I had in mind will get over in my ear and say, look at this. Look at that right there. That is not what you had in mind. Look at it. That is not what you, look at how you got it. This is not what you envisioned for you at this stage in your life. You know how you create these little gods? So, and by the time I'm 40, it's going to be like this. And by the time I'm 50, it's going to be like this. And by the time I'm 60, all of those are little gods. And when life doesn't turn out like that, you get bitter and quit, and you think there is no God. God didn't come in your life to give you what you had in mind. He came in your life to give you what he had in mind. Join hands. I want to pray for somebody who's having trouble on the ground. And you realize that you've been delayed. You could have been further. You should have been further. You would have been further. I hate to tell you this. It's not just that you could have. It's that you would have been further. The reason you haven't gone further quicker is that you're reaching after gifts, but you've never been grounded. You have tried 4 or 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different things. Each you worked on 90 days or so, and then said it doesn't work. How can you be a leader with a 90-day test? Of course it didn't work. You didn't stick to it long enough. You didn't fight hard enough. You didn't do what it took to win, and rather than to correct it and get it right, you walked away from it and tried something else. And for the last 10, 15 years of your life, you've been on the run from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, trying to make all this stuff work. Stop it. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Stand still. Still. The Bible said that if your feet are planted in the house of the Lord, then your life will flourish in the courts of our God. But your feet are not planted in the house of the Lord. Some of you are, some of you are not. Some of you, we won't see you till Easter. You're only here because it's the first Sunday. I can clock it every year. The first 4 or 5 weeks of every January, you're right on spot. And it's not that you're not a good person, but the cares of this world come along and you go back into your default setting, and by March you'll be gone. We'll see you Easter. We won't see you again until January next year. You cannot be fruitful if you're not grounded. And I don't just define the house of the Lord as the potter's house building, but a worship context for your life, a praise context, a Jesus spot in your life that he owns and that you're consistent with. You need that in order to flourish. You can't flourish if you're not grounded. Squeeze that hand you're holding. God does not want this to be another year like the other year. He wants to do a new thing in you and a fresh thing in you. But in order to do it, you have to be grounded. You have to make up in your mind, I'm going to balance the areas in my life that are out of balance. You got to send a heat missile out to detect fraudulent places that you told yourself lies so long that you believe them, and knock them down, because this is your season. You're coming into a season, Hashadai. You're coming into a season where God is going to open up the windows of heaven, and you got to be ready for it. Squeeze that hand. You got to be strong enough that these other gods that you built don't distract you from the one that really has the keys to your destiny. The person you're touching right now has been through enough that they value life. They understand that life is important. They understand that life is a gift. They understand that tomorrow's not promised to them. They understand. They have been made to learn and made to listen to the fact that life is just a fleeting vapor. It'll soon be gone, and they want to make it count. They want to master it. They're working with liabilities and disabilities and brokennesses. And I didn't have this, and I wasn't raised with that, and I didn't get the other. And yet I still have a vision and a hope and a purpose and a plan for my life. Squeeze that hand. You're talking to somebody that God has brought in here to be coached, to be trained, to be challenged, to be prepared, to get ready to do exploits in the earth, and God wants to do something amazing in their life. Squeeze that hand.